Hi everybody, it's me back for a brand new video. This week's video I'm joined by Schnorr legend Duncan.
Spot in the 74th minute and the promotion dream was on again.
Talk me through your early years of being a footballer.
So I started playing football on a regular basis when I went to high school. So I played for the high school team on a regular basis, as well as one of the local football teams. There was a team called St Mirren that were based in Linwood. And at that time, you would play for the school team in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you'd go and play for the boys' club. So there was a lot of football in those early days. Roughly when I was about 15 for about a year and a half, I didn't play football. Ended up going and watching St Mirren for a period of time, probably home and away for about a year and a half. But after that period of not playing in a boys' club, I ended up missing the game, shall we say, from a boys' club level, and so I started with a team called Eddie Star. This was a local team based in Paisley, and I played there for a couple of seasons, and then when I was spotted as a striker. I played most of my time as a midfielder, but for this season as a under 21s with Eddie Star, I played as a striker, and I got spotted playing for them in a Scottish Cup game against, I think it was a Clydebank. It was based over in Yoker, and ended up scoring. I think I scored like a hat-trick that day, and after the game, I then found out that Dumbarton had been watching me for a period of time, and they wanted to take me out for a trial, a reserve game, and play as a trialist. So I, jumped at that opportunity, and I ended up playing three reserve team matches. And the manager of Dumbarton at that time was Bertie Auld, who was a fantastic footballer himself, and a very experienced manager as well. He certainly from his football days, he was a Lisbon Lions, who was a bit of a legend. But so he was a manager of Dumbarton, and after my third trial match, Bertie pulled me into his office and wanted to sign me, and made me an offer, and obviously I was delighted with that. So in terms of Bertie Auld, I've got a lot to thank him for bringing me on board and signing me at Dumbarton. So yeah, a lot to thank Bertie Auld.
After a short spell at Dumbarton, you made a move to Schnorr in 1989. What was the reason behind that move?
Well, I had one season at Dumbarton, and certainly initially when I was brought on board, I didn't actually expect to play. I was brought on, was told I was going to be a reserve team player, and I would learn the professional game through the reserve team, etc. However, I actually was thrust into the first team immediately, and I ended up playing I think I started 18 matches. So I took that as quite a decent start for my first year as a professional. But the main reason that things sort of ended at Dumbarton was that Bertie Auld got sacked midway through the season, and they brought in a manager called Jim George, and he had different ideas. He came from the junior game, so he was he ended up bringing in players that he knew from the junior game, and the young players like myself at the time were kind of sort of used fewer, over fewer games thereafter. So, and then come the end of the season, basically my contract was not renewed, and it was time to move on. But thankfully, I think what I'd done in my first season at Dumbarton had obviously been good enough to attract attention from other managers. But certainly the one manager that really stood out to me was Sani McInnesby, and he was very keen to get me to move to St Mirren Football Club. And when I say he was keen, he met me 2 or 3 times and essentially sold me his vision of what he wanted to achieve at the club and bring better players to the club. And he just made me feel welcome as well. And it was just in the end, I was delighted to sign for Stranraer.
How disappointed were you that you didn't get promoted in 92-93?
Well, as a team and also as an individual, it was all about extreme disappointment. That is not an underestimation of the situation. We went into that game against St Mirren, hoping to go and get a victory and hoping to achieve promotion. So we went in there and we played very well. We won the game fairly convincingly. I managed to score a penalty. There's a couple of other good goals within the game. There's a big support up from Stranraer as well. So we did what we had to do on that day, which was to go and win the game convincingly. And at the end of the game, as players, we were we were just unsure on what the other result was I think it was between Clyde and Brecon. And so as we came off the pitch, all the fans invaded and onto the pitch, and they were saying, "Oh, we're up," and we were still unsure, So we weren't definitely up, and we don't know, So anyway, we got into the changing rooms, and there was still that uncertainty: are we up? Are we not? And then I actually think it was Stuart Marshall who was the bus driver. He's a bit of a Stranraer legend himself. But so Stuart Marshall, I'm pretty sure it was Stuart, came in to the dressing room and said, "We're up, guys. The score's gone our way." So there was mass celebrations within the changing room. And then we all get told to go up into the main stand and greet all the Stranraer fans that were on the pitch. And I think there was TV cameras were obviously there as well, and there was lots of celebration from us as players. And I remember it vividly now because my parents were at the game, and I was obviously I looked for them. They were in the main stand. They weren't that far away from where we were, and this was when we were all celebrating. And I looked at my dad, and my dad just shook his head, and he just said, "Oh, what are you doing?" type thing. Although I couldn't quite hear him, and I just knew then that it wasn't to be. And then somebody obviously came up officially and told everybody. So it was a bit of a very, very disappointing moment and very, very sore at the time. But I remember coming back into the changing room, and we were obviously disappointed, to say the least. And I think we all felt at that time, look, we've just missed out. We're going to go for this again next year. And even that quickly after the result not going for us, I think we all knew we were going to come back and be back, better and stronger, and achieve what we were set out to achieve, and that was to win the league and get promotion.
Fans and players, believing that Brecon had dropped a point, thought their team was First Division bound. News hadn't filtered through of Brecon's late winner, and the celebrations at Oakview were well underway. Fans and players were really enjoying the occasion. Champagne corks were popping too when over the tannoy came the news Brecon had beaten Clyde. Disaster for Stranraer, but there was still applause for the players who returned the compliment but then left dejected for the dressing room.
You're still regarded as a legend for winning the league and the Challenge Cup with Stranraer. Talk me through both of the seasons.
Well, it's certainly nice to be thought of, in that way by Stranraer fans, because both 1993-94 season and winning the Challenge Cup in '96, were fantastic seasons for both the club and the fans. Like I said just in your previous question, Ryan, I felt that straight away from the disappointment of losing out on promotion the previous season, we knew and we were confident that we could go and achieve not only promotion but win the league, and that was our goal. So the 93-94 season was just a build on the previous year. It was the team spirit was solid, a great team spirit, and we knew we could go and work hard, apply ourselves the right way, and if we did that and we got a wee bit of fortune on the way, we knew we would be there or thereabouts. And I think losing out the previous season, you've got that experience, you know what's expected, and you know what's expected to go even that bit further this time. So we worked hard, and as I say, Sani had put together a great squad of players, and the season just built up momentum and momentum. And I think if I recall correctly, I think once we got to top of the league, we ended up. I think we ended up being at the top for a long period of time, and I think that was testimony to our hard work as a team and how successful we were. But as the season was coming towards an end, one of the things that stand out for me was I remember we had a game against Meadowbank up at Meadowbank Stadium, and I ended up getting injured in the game and got taken to hospital, and in the ambulance. I'd never experienced that before, and I had a suspected broken leg and quite a gash on my leg. But my concern was, it turned out that it was not a broken leg. But my concern was I going to get back to play before the end of the season? But thankfully, I only missed 2 games. So, or two, I think it was 2 or 3 2 games, and then I was back in the squad, something like that. So I healed quite well, considering, and so that was a big memory of that season as well. The potential of maybe missing out, but then clinching the actual title at East Stirling was just a fantastic day. And it was, it was done, and for me, scoring 2 goals for Stranraer and 1 for East Stirling was was quite an amazing day for myself. But not only that, Lex Grant scored a wonderful goal that day as well. So it was just a fantastic time um, to be at the club, and I'm very grateful for that time. And then winning the Challenge Cup in 1996 was also a great time for the club and the fans as well. And that was again a very enjoyable moment. Winning the Challenge Cup at Cumbernauld against St Johnstone. And St Johnstone were a good side at that time, a very good side. They were running away with the first division, I think it was, as it was called at the time. So they were a very good side, and we were no doubt underdogs for the cup. But we showed on the day that you had to work hard, apply yourself in the right way, and maybe getting a bit of fortune. We got a bit of fortune that day, and it was just a fantastic occasion. The weather wasn't great. It was poor conditions for a game. Poor conditions probably for the fans to watch, but it was certainly a day of great memories. Absolutely great memories.
Bertie's arrived with the news of a last-minute winner for Queen of the South. The combination of results ensuring the championship with 3 games left to play. The friendly club from the southwest are now well and truly on the soccer map and aiming to make a big impact on next season's New Look First Division.
Side. It's Duncan who sends it in. And Derek Crawford was almost on the end of things. Duncan there.
What was Sonny McAnespie like as a manager?
Well, for me, Sonny McAnespie was a fantastic manager. I mentioned about him earlier in the interview, Ryan, about how keen he was to bring me to the club, but he was also keen to bring other players as well, and can constantly improve the quality of the squad. That to me showed that he was very good at putting a team together that was capable of ultimately gaining success and winning a title. So he could spot players, spot them. He brought players with the right character to the club. So, and what I mean was, he didn't bring players that were, individuals that just wanted to work for themselves. He brought players that could add, a lot of benefit to the existing squad. So it was all about building a squad, building an ethos of solid teamwork. His training was fantastic. He would train players hard. He would, his professionalism was excellent as well. His tactics were good. He's also a very good man manager, and he knew when to let the team or players go and play, as well as when he felt he needed to step in and be more directional, shall we say. So he seemed to be a real all-rounder. Don't get me wrong, if you cross Sani by doing something that you shouldn't have done, you would get the wrath of Sani as well. He would soon know about it. So Sani for me was a brilliant all-round manager, very experienced manager. Especially towards the successful times of the club.
Back. If you're overweight, you've got a hard problem. because you know what's in front of you. You've been there with me, and let's all enjoy and savour this moment.
You scored 26 goals for Stranraer. Is there any goal that stands out?
Well, there's certainly a number of goals that stand out for me as an individual. First goal for me stands out, and it was actually my first time playing against Dumbarton. So it was at Boghead, Dumbarton's ground, and Zanny the manager, he'd actually put me on the bench because thinking it might be, it might affect my game if because I was playing against my old side type thing. Anyway, he put me on eventually, and we were getting beat at the time. I think we were actually getting beat quite convincingly. Anyway, we got put on. I got put on, and it was a corner for us for Stranraer. Corner got whipped in, and I scored a header. Quite far out, so it was quite significant as well. I scored, and I always liked scoring against my old clubs as well. But that was significant as a first goal. I remember also scoring a goal at Hampden against Queen's Park, just in the league actually, so it wasn't like a cup final or anything, but it was a free kick just outside the penalty box, and I remember striking it, and I've basically hit the top right hand corner with it. A fantastic strike. I think it was probably one of the first goals that I'd scored from distance. It was in the early years, maybe around about 1991, maybe 1991, that kind of sort of time. But I remember scoring it, and what a feeling scoring that goal at Hampden Park, hitting the top right hand corner was a fantastic memory. Another one that springs to mind that was very significant at the time was the penalty against St Mirren. I've talked about that earlier in the interview about the importance of that game, and actually at that time it was a very important penalty because I'm pretty sure we were drawing at the time, so I felt as if at that point I had to score, because if I scored, we win the game. So it was absolutely crucial, and I remember scoring the goal, and also at the game that day were a group of my friends, and they were behind the goals. So I remember scoring the goal and going and celebrating behind with a number of my friends who were there. So that was a fantastic feeling as well. But clearly, I'm sure most Stranraer fans from the 1990s will know that the goals that mean so much to me were the goals that helped win us and clinch the actual title, the championship, in season 93-94. So those goals were against East Stirling. Just to give some bit of background to these two goals, was in the first half. I didn't have a chance with this, but it was Michael Geraghty had a shot, and he had a shot off target. It hits me in the hip and deflects in the goals. So I'd already had my name down on the score sheet, albeit it was for East Stirling that day. But then second half, I scored. It was a free kick to us, and Stevie Cody just played a side pass to me. It was probably about 30 yards out, maybe more, and I've hit it with my left foot, and it's just screamed into the goals, left hand side of the goals as you look at it. kind of rising up towards the top, so middle to top. That was an absolute fantastic feeling. So that was an equaliser, so that made it 2-2 in the game. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later, we got awarded another free kick. This time it was a bit closer, so maybe about 4 or 5 yards outside the penalty box, towards the left-hand side. And again, myself and Stevie Cody had a little chat, and I fancied it again. I wanted to have a go, and Stevie said, "Look, yeah, let's give it a go." So he just moved the ball, just played another short free kick, and this time I've crashed it in with my right foot. I've hit an absolute worldie, and it's gone into the top left hand corner, and that was just a fantastic moment for me as a player. And it turned out, obviously, that was the winning goal of the match. So, and then that clinched us the title that day. So those are the goals that really stand out for me, Ryan.
Fought back to level before half-time. Fullback Graham Duncan putting through his own net. Graham Duncan, keen to make amends for that earlier own goal, soon put the championship bid back on course with a left-foot rocket. Stephen Cody plays the free kick wide to Duncan, and there's no stopping that one. Better news still, Queen's Andy Thompson had equalised against Stenhousemuir. 3 minutes later, and there's a familiar look to this free kick. Cody to Duncan, top left-hand corner. Only this time, it was his right foot. The closing minutes brought some close calls as East Stirling piled on
time at the club.
Well, my memories of my time at Stranraer are very good. Very good. I had eight years as a Stranraer player, and 8 years are, very significant to me. Loved my time at the football club. Loved all the people behind the scenes at the club. They were all good people, and you always were made to feel very welcome. And the fans were great towards me, and I've got nothing but brilliant memories, and they will last with me forever. And not only was it 8 great years, but within those 8 great years, I was part of the start of the success for the club, in terms of winning the second division in 1993-94 season, and then also winning the Challenge Cup in 1996. So it was, to walk away with 2 winners' medals from my 8 years at the club, it's just means the world to me. And I've got lots of time for Stranraer as a club, the people behind the scenes at the club, and yeah, just absolutely great memories, must admit, great memories.
Do you still keep in touch with any of the Stranraer players?
Yeah, I do. I keep in touch with a number of players, and I think essentially it's done through social media, and that's one of the big benefits of social media, that it's easy to keep in touch with people and see what they're doing and how their lives are progressing and moving on. So, but yeah, so it's players like Barney Duffy, Jim Hughes, Kenny Brannigan, Ian McCauley, Duncan George, from the early days as well. So yeah, keep in touch with some of these guys, from a distance, but it's generally through social media. Say sometimes bump into Kenny Brannigan at games. I've spoken to him a few times over the last few years. But yeah, no, all good guys.
Who's the best player you've played against and why?
Well, that's a brilliant question, Ryan. I played against a number of great players over the years, and even one of the first games I played for Dunbarton, played in a friendly match against Rangers. It was actually a closed door game against Rangers, and at that time I was playing as a striker, and I was directly up against the captain of England, which was Terry Butcher, and the captain of Scotland, which was Richard Gough. So they were quite a fearsome pairing to play against in a pre-season friendly. I've also played, against guys like Ray Wilkins, who were fantastic footballers as well. McCoist, Ian Durant, brilliant footballers. Another that kind of sticks out was Victor. So Victor was previously he was playing for St Mirren at this time, and then but prior to that he'd been at Barcelona, and he'd been also the captain of Spain. So he was quite a significant player to play against. But the one player that stands out that I played against, it was actually was a Scottish player called Ian Ferguson. And Ian Ferguson played at this time, played against him when he was at Rangers, and he played central midfield, directly against myself. And that was in a League Cup tie down at Stair Park. I think it was season 92-93. And when I played against him, I knew I was in a game. It was certainly a game that I won't forget. We lost it quite convincingly, but that was a brilliant Rangers team with guys like Haitley, Mikhailchenkov, just a brilliant team. And I think Rangers ended up going very far in the Champions League that season. But it was Ian Ferguson to me. He was an absolute wonderful footballer. He was strong, pacey, sharp, good with his feet, good in the air. And I remember coming off that game and thinking at the end of it, that I was in a game. I knew I was in a game, and it was Ian Ferguson for me stands out as a player that kind of stands out as the kind of best player I played against.
What's the best 1 to 11 players you've played with?
Well, that's another difficult question, Ryan, and it's probably one that is going to upset one or two people. But yeah, so start off in goals. I played with a number of good goalkeepers, but for me, in the nets would be Barney Duffy. Barney played at Stranraer when I was there. All the years. I was eight years there. I think Barney was maybe 10, maybe 11 as a player, and then he worked thereafter as a coach, and brilliant goalkeeper. great goal stopper. You know, he just great guy to have in the team. In terms of defence, so right to left, at right back, I'm going to put in Jock McStay. Now, I played with Jock McStay at Albion Rovers, and Jock McStay was a very, very good player. Played a lot of his time at Wraith Rovers, you know, in a successful Wraith Rovers team, but great right back, great talker. As I say, played with him at Albion Rovers, and you know, just a good footballer. Right-sided central defender, it would have to be Kenny Brannigan. Kenny Brannigan, again, another excellent footballer. Had also played down south, had a spell down south. I think with was it Sheffield Wednesday and maybe Doncaster as well. But great leader. He was a captain of Stranraer when we won the league, and he was a winner, born winner. Very good on the ball. You know, he was obviously physically strong and everything like that. But you know, very good on the ball, good distribution. Would scare the opposition, scare the life out of the opposition as well. But great captain to have, brilliant in the trenches. Alongside Kenny, I'm actually going to put in probably a surprise to some, but John Robertson. John Robertson, you know, I played with John at Stranraer, and John was a young lad coming through. John initially kind of started off as like a full back, right back, but could comfortably play as a centre back as well. But he was, I could see quite early that John could play. He was very athletic, very mobile. You know, good in the air, good on the deck. And you just got that feeling that John was going to, you know, have a good career in the game, and you know, I know he did, and he went on to the likes of played at Oxford, and he, you know, played you know, teams like Partick, Ross County, St Johnstone, etc. So John Robertson would be my second centre back, and then at left back. I would have Jim Hughes. So Jim Hughes, again, I played with Jim at Stranraer, and Jim was a fantastic footballer. Jim could play in easily all four positions in the back four, as well as he'd comfortably step into midfield if needed. He played quite a considerable amount of time as a left back, even though he was more right-footed, but he was also very strong on his left side as well. Very, very dependable. Again, somebody you want backing you up all the time. An absolute brilliant guy, and you know, again, a winner, somebody who wanted to win. So that's my four defenders. I'm going to go for three midfielders in this 11. And the first one would be on the right-hand side would be Robert Docherty. So I played with Doc at a number of clubs. So I played with Doc at Dumbarton, and then I played with him at Stranraer and also at Albion Rovers. But Robert was a very, very gifted footballer. Great feet, you know, very tidy on the ball, very fit guy, and could play, you know, left foot, right foot, you know, very intricate passes. Just a very intelligent footballer. Also in midfield, I would select Stephen Cody. So I played again alongside Stephen at Stranraer. we kind of formed a good partnership together in the middle, the centre of the midfield. Stevie again was a good technician of the game. You know, he had good feet. You know, would like to pass the ball, like to get on the ball. We built up a good partnership together. Stevie could also put the foot in when he needed to. And he would chip in with a couple of goals here and there as well. So I have Stevie in there as well. And then the third midfielder I would put on the left hand side would be Darren Henderson. So Darren was another naturally gifted footballer. He had a wand of a left foot, brilliant left foot. He had great pace, and you know, a great team player. You know, he was also had a good career as well, and moved on amongst a number of clubs in Scotland. But what a gifted footballer he was. So I would have Darren as my left midfielder. So I would then play. I would have one player playing in the hole, what they call the hole, and that would be playing in a kind of number 10 role, as they say nowadays, and that would be Lex Grant. Lex Grant was probably the most gifted footballer that I've played with. He had great feet. He was good in the air as well. He wasn't a good trainer. He didn't like the running aspect to training, which most folk don't. But he was one of the most naturally gifted footballers, and you know, I think Lex had the ability to go to the very top and stay there, but unfortunately it didn't quite pan out that way. But he was an excellent footballer, so he would be in that role just off the two strikers. First of the two strikers I would pick in there would be Owen Coyle. So I played with Owen at Dumbarton, and if you remember, Ryan, I said I started at Dumbarton as a striker. So it was myself and Owen Coyle. We kind of built up a good relationship, and Owen ended up, you know, he would score goals, you know, very clinical goal scorer, pick up all the scraps and, you know, make good runs into areas. And, you know, we built up a good partnership, but it was more that what he did in the game, and he progressed. He moved from Dumbarton to Clydebank to Airdrie, and then further on, and also went down south and played for Bolton Wanderers as well. Came back up to Scotland and had a brilliant career. And then has had also a very good career as a manager as well, working in England. So definitely Owen Coyle. And then the final striker I would put in there would be Warren Hawke. So Warren, I played with Warren at Queen of the South and became brilliant friends with Warren. But Warren was a tremendous striker. Good feet, great in the air. You know, he's not 6 foot or anything, but he could leap and jump like a salmon. And great goal scorer. Got a big move from Berwick to Morton. Did very well at Morton for years. But also, you know, in his early career, you know, played at Sunderland and also played as in the FA Cup final, albeit he never won that game, but he's got an FA Cup runners-up medal, so a very, 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 very good player. So that would be my 11 of players that I played with. and I apologise to anybody that never made the team.
Have you any funny football stories?
But when you're involved in football clubs, there's lots of funny stories and banter that goes on. Probably one of the funniest that sticks in my mind is it was maybe in the early years, maybe in 1992, kind of around about that 93. Probably maybe it was more 1992, kind of pre-season, and we were due to play in the Border tournament, Border Cup, I think they might have called it. I think it was Border tournament. Anyway, it was getting held at Palmerston at Queen of the South, so they were the hosts. It was ourselves, Queen of the South, Gretna, and Carlisle. So the format was that they were going to play 2 games on the Saturday, and then I think something similar on the Sunday, or the winners on the Sunday. Anyway, we travelled down to Dumfries, and when we got there, we knew we were going to be the second game on the pitch. So there was currently a game on. So Queen of the South were playing. I think it was Gretna. They were playing Gretna on the first game, and then I think we were due to go on at maybe 3 o'clock. So anyway, when we got there, we soon found out that Queen of the South had decided that we weren't going to get changed at Palmerston. They said that there wasn't enough room within Palmerston, because obviously the 2 dressing rooms were getting changed, and then the Carlisle side, they were getting changed as well in the main stand. But Queen of the South, quite appropriately, I think, had decided that they were going to move us, or So we soon found out that we were going to be getting changed in the Dumfries prison. So Queen of the South had laid on this minibus to take us from Palmerston to Dumfries prison, which apparently is just really round the corner from the stadium. So we all jump in the minibus, laid on by Queens. We drive round to the prison. We weren't sure, is this really going to be a prison? So yeah, we drive up. You've got a big, massive gate. So the gate kind of zooms up. The minibus drives in. The gate goes comes back down behind the minibus. Somebody comes out, has a quick check at who's in the bus, speaks to the driver. Then they lift up the gate at the front of the bus, and they drive us into the prison. And this is like, it's quite daunting, because I don't think anybody in the team had visited a prison before. Not sure, but anyway, I certainly hadn't, and it was quite daunting going in there. So the minibus drives up, parks up, and we're told we're going into the kind of sports centre part of the prison, recreation centre, whatever they called it. But we were then told we weren't going to be using the changing rooms because they were getting used at the time. But we were going to be using the gymnasium, the gym. So we went into the gym, and the gym was, it was a modern gym. It had all the weights and machines, etc., and things like that. So we were kind of just told, right, quickly find a space, find an area, and we can start getting ready, getting your strips on, etc. So close to where I was one of the walls, and on the wall was a big red, button on the wall. So I realised that must be for like the riot button, if there's a problem. So I made sure, don't get too close. But anyway, you know, in the team at the time, Darren was part of the team. And so this is Darren Henderson, and Darren Henderson, brilliant guy, you know, brilliant footballer, but as daft as a brush. So Darren turned round, said to me at the same time, he said, "What does this do?" And he whacks the big red button on the wall. And I said, "Don't hit that, Darren." I said, "Don't hit that, that's the riot button." "Oh, nothing's happened." And he hits it again. Again, nothing happened. So we then said, right, let's just get ready. And without a word of a lie, within 30 seconds, the doors burst open, and all the prison guards, we've got the riot shields, the riot masks on, the truncheons out. They burst in expecting a big, massive fight going on in the gymnasium. So when they realise it's Stranraer Football Club in there, getting changed, getting ready to go and play in a football match, they turn around and say, right, who hit the red button? Who hit the riot button? And at that point, we kind of look around like this towards Darren, and then Darren turns to his left and said, "It was him. It was him." And he points at Stevie Cody. So, and you know, it was certainly a memory, a very, very funny memory at the time. You know, Darren acting like a little schoolboy, blaming somebody else, but prison guards were not happy whatsoever. They were absolutely fuming. So Ryan, I'd just like to say at this point, thanks very much for the interview, and I wish you all the best and good luck in your future interviews. I also like to wish the club, Stranraer Football Club, all the very best for this coming season, and hopefully they can gain success again and bring success back to the fans. Thanks for all the great times. I had 8 great years at the club and some great memories. All the best for the future.
Thanks, Graham, for this week's interview. I really appreciate that. There were some great stories in the interview. So I'll see you at Stair Park when you come down. Everybody, just remember to like, subscribe and share, and hit the bell symbol so you never miss a brand new video. And just stay tuned. From when I hit 150 subscribers, we'll be doing a prize giveaway. So yeah, peace. See you next one. Goodbye.
Stephen Cody plays the free kick wide to Duncan, and there's no stopping that one. Cody to Duncan, top left-hand corner. Only this time, it was his right foot.